Welcome to Cosmic Compass, where we talk all about astrocartography and the stories of places in the world. And today I have my dear friend, Sophie. Hi. And she's here to talk about her stories and how location has impacted her in her life. Thanks for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I know.
They feel honored, honestly.
Oh, yes. As it's the thing that we've always had in common. One of the biggest things is our love for travel and cultures and different parts of the world and noticing how places affect us and impact how we feel energetically.
Absolutely.
But also our stories. So where are you right now?
I am in Portugal. I live here and I've been here for 7 months.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you're okay. It's a long story.
You're
from
long story.
all over the world.
Where do we start?
Yeah. The places that have called to you the most. I mean, I would say Hawaii is probably one of the biggest ones. Would you say that Hawaii is one of your most important places in the world?
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like Hawaii is my home. That's like where my story began as an adult. But Portugal has always called to me.
Yeah.
Like we came here for our honeymoon and I just knew right away. I was like, whoa, this feels so nice. Like it feels like home in a different way. As you know, like I love Portugal, the culture, the people. It just really aligns with who I am. So there's many different homes around the world for me.
And that's the thing. We have many places in the world that call to us. We never have to feel like we have to be in one place. We have options. And the amazing thing about how I always say to my audience, you know, these places reflect how you feel. And you can pick up on it immediately. And it's interesting because on your astrocartography map, you have a moon MC line going through Hawaii. And the moon MC line is that feeling of home, is that feeling of emotional connection to a place. And it's on your MC line, which for any of you listening, the MC represents the midheaven, which is the highest point of visibility. So it represents your reputation, it represents your career, but it also represents like you finding your purpose in what you want to do.
That's crazy.
Has Hawaii done anything in that regard for you in bringing about that?
Absolutely. Like I didn't know anything. I don't know much about astrocartography. Like Helena is my source of knowing all this. But of course, when I moved to Hawaii, I didn't know any of it. But that's where my YouTube career began. And I feel like I really found my voice there. And the start of my YouTube really started in Hawaii. But I just felt so inspired by the land. And of course, I'm from Maui, the island of Maui. And the nature, the room to breathe, it's so inspiring for me personally. And I knew that I had to do something creative. And I don't know, like 5 years later, I'm still doing YouTube. And it all started in Hawaii. And I'm so thankful that I went for it while I was there.
Tell us about your YouTube channel. What were the origins of it? And what was kind of like the mission that like started it all for you?
Also a long story, as you know. Like, she knows my whole story, but basically, I was working for a nonprofit at the time, my past life, literally. Like, it was such a long time ago, but I was a financial counselor, basically working with low-income families to purchase a home and things. And my job, as you know, nonprofits, you wear many hats, but basically to look over their finances and kind of I would look at people's bank statements and literally go through like what's necessary, what's not, and like how you can budget to purchase a home.
Yeah.
And I loved this job. And I didn't quit because I hated it or anything like that. I absolutely loved it. I loved my boss and everything, but I felt like I was a little bit stuck and I couldn't progress. So I needed a creative challenge. And in June 2020 was like when everything was slowing down, I was like, okay, I was working from home at the time, and that gave me some time to really work on my side project, which was YouTube. And at the time, you know, everything's happening at the same time, of course. But looking back, I was going through this minimalism journey on my own. I was working the corporate job and I didn't really know how to spend my paycheck and manage my finances. And so ironic because I was helping other people. I know. So I had to really look at myself, and I was like, oh, like I need to take care of my own life, and I need to get my life together. And that's kind of how the minimalism journey started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you know what's crazy is in your birth chart, you have Saturn in the second house. And while you were starting YouTube in 2020, you were going through what's called your Saturn Return, which is when you are kind of stepping into adulthood. It's when you leave behind your adolescence and you're taking on the challenges of becoming an adult and stepping into your life's work as well.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. Saturn is all about like duty and obligation and service and maturity and responsibility. And so you were taking on this greater responsibility of showing up online. And it was in your second house. And the second house represents money, finances, and possessions. Like literally possessions. And Saturn in the second house, anytime I see this in someone's birth chart or in a relocation chart when someone's moving to a different part of the world, I call that the minimalist placement. Because Saturn is like cutting out what's not essential or what's not necessary in your life. And when it's in the second house of possessions, it's money, it's frugality, and it's being more frugal, and it's just paring down what's not essential. And so when you started your Saturn return, it was like you were in that field of like going deep on that, but also sharing that information with others. And it's fascinating. This is where we get a little bit more intermediate for all of you intermediate astrologers. But when you have a transit that hits that planet, it also affects other areas of life that it rules. And so for you, your Saturn rule is in your second house, and it also rules your third house. And the third house is about communication, writing, and self-expression through like your voice and your writing. And so literally you were talking about second house topics during your Saturn return. And it was like a huge time in your life because it was your Saturn return. And that happens once every 29 years. So you'll get it again. This theme will come up again 29 years from now.
It's fascinating. Like I didn't know any of this, but when you talk about it, it just aligns with what I was going through at the time. So like down to the little details.
Wow.
And it's like, it's fascinating.
That's so cool.
I know the timing of our lives and how we can reset like every 29 years. You're going through these changes. That was like a big turning point in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of still riding that wave, you know, and I'm just developing from it. But yeah, that was definitely like my adult years, a turning point.
Yeah. And living in Hawaii on your moon MC, where it's like being connected emotionally to the land, being inspired, letting that fuel your career. Yeah. And along with the timing, it's like right place, right time. Yeah. You were in the perfect place at the perfect time, and that just expedited it for you. Your YouTube channel is huge. You've built a massive community of kindred spirits who are in total alignment with your values and your mission. And that's also a big part of you have Venus in the 11th house. And so your audience, there's a lot of love. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of...
I love them.
Yes.
I really appreciate, like, my community is so amazing. And like I said, it's just kind of like a brag, you know? Like, it's something that I brag about. It's like, I have the most amazing community members. They are like, it's a safe space. And I was actually really afraid when I first started YouTube of like, you know, you hear about the bad comments and the criticisms and all that. And of course, like, I'm open to everything. You're putting yourself out there, as you know.
Yeah.
But I'm just like really thankful. And this is why I encourage everyone to just go out there and start a YouTube. Yeah. It's because you just never know. And you find your people online. And it's like the greatest thing. Yeah. And I don't have to tell you, like, you know all this. But, you know, it's such an amazing journey.
And you also find your friends. You know, like I found you. YouTube found, like, brought us together.
It really did.
I commented on one of your videos. I remember the exact video.
Really?
It was a thumbnail where it was like a green forest behind you and you were standing in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? It was like one of your first videos. And I remember the thumbnail was so striking and beautiful. And I watched the video and my heart just resonated with you instantly. And I left a comment.
I remember too. I was like, wait, I know this girl. I watch her videos. And I was fangirling, of course. But The video was Art of Doing Nothing or something like that. And we were both doing slow living content.
And we have so much in common. I feel like not a lot of people would know or see that. But we love travel. We love cultures. We're both like, we have the same passion. We have the same heart, the same aliveness. And it's magical how YouTube can bring people together, you know?
I know. Kindred spirit, as you say.
Yes.
I definitely feel that. And it was like immediate when I met Helena. The spark, we're like, oh my gosh. Like, where were you all my life?
Where were you?
Yeah, in life, I know. You were like my missing piece. And we're so different. But yet, like, we value the same things. And I feel like our spirits are the same.
I know. I've always described you as like family. Like, it feels like family to me. It's really special. It's really special. Yeah. So some other places in the world that you've been. Well, now you're in Portugal.
Yes.
And you love Portugal. And I'm really excited for this part of the vlog. Pluto lines in astrocartography, people fear them. Like, people worry about Pluto lines. They think of like, because there's just this weird bad rap. Like, you know, if something gets said online, everyone takes it, runs with it. But Pluto lines in astrocartography, they are very powerful places in the world where it kind of like sets you on this path of initiation, of transformation, of letting go of what the past was and stepping into a new future.
Okay.
And the Pluto IC line in particular, you only have one of them in the world. And I like to say that this is like a past life line. It's a place where you feel like it's a powerful calling, where you're being pulled to that location in the world. And there's just this sense of like, I know this place. I'm familiar with it on an energetic level. Like, even if you've never been there, there is this feeling of, I know this place. I've lived here before. And I felt it when I went to Australia for the first time. Like, my plane landed and it was like, oh my God, I've lived here before. Do you feel that way about Portugal? Like, just this energetic resonance with the country, like it's familiar to you somehow?
I think if you go to a place and you have that immediate connection to it and you've never been before, there's gotta be some kind of a connection in your past life or some kind of other connection spiritually with the land. And I definitely felt it when I was in Portugal. Even now I feel it. Like when I'm just, doing a road trip from the north to the south, I feel so connected to this land and I don't know what it is. Like, I've never been here before. None of my family's been here, and I've traveled to so many places. I've been to so many places, but Portugal was like, wow, something about here. It really aligns with who I am. And it's so unexplainable until you told me about astrocartography.
That's wild. Yeah. And the IC in astrology represents the land and like the land of the place and the country and the roots. And Pluto is that calling, that powerful feeling of resonance. So like literally in Portugal and like buying a house, buying real estate, buying land, such a Pluto IC theme. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah. That's like, that was always the dream.
Yeah.
And I just, like as soon as I bought the house here, I was like, wow, this is like, it's meant to be. It was the perfect timing. And even more, I feel like it's home now.
Yeah. And for any astrology timing nerds out there, when she was going through this process of like coming to Portugal, finding your place, you're kind of going back and forth between Hawaii and Portugal a little bit, right? For like a year.
Yes. Yeah. I came here, I was in the south, but now I'm a little bit like maybe 30 minutes away from Lisbon. So it's more coastal and I just, trying out different parts of Portugal to see what works, but I really love this region of Portugal. The rolling hills, the coastline is just, it's so perfect for me.
Oh, you've got to visit Biarritz. You've got to visit Basque Country in France. Like, you would love it. Really? Oh, yes.
Oh, I know.
But while you were going through these themes, Saturn was going through your fourth house. And Saturn represents responsibility, challenge, things like that. And it was going through your fourth house, which is like, where do you live? Where's your home? Where do you want to live? And now that is going through your fifth house of creativity and self-expression. And so this is a fantastic transit. It's actually one of my favorites. I just went through it for the last 2.5 years. But it's basically where you're going to be creating the most incredible work over these next 2.5 years. Like, I'm serious. Like, YouTube, whatever it is you want to create, a book, whatever it is you want to do, these next 2.5 years are all about the dedication and the pursuit of that creativity. But when you were moving here and you were going through that shift, it was going through your fourth house of home and where you live.
So hard. It was really difficult.
Of course.
Like any transition is so difficult, but I think it's so important too.
Yeah.
Like we all need to go through that to figure out what we really want, and to see how we feel about certain things and test it out. And it's kind of that trial period.
Yeah.
And of course, in hindsight, I'm so happy that we went through that. And now that we found this place, because we didn't want to really settle in the South.
Yeah. So it's ideal location. I can attest. It's like absolutely stunning. It's like, it's beautiful. It's perfect.
Right now.
Yeah. Some other places that you've been called to in the world, we were talking about over the last few days. What are some random places that...
Such a fun topic, by the way. It gets me excited every time because I love cultures and countries and the different landscapes and the different like flora, fauna. Like it's so fascinating. Yeah, exactly. What are some other places? Like we were talking about earlier, Egypt.
Yeah.
So mysterious to me. And it's like something about the desert culture, like the sand dunes and everything is so fascinating and so much history and so many myths and stories that come from Egypt.
Yeah.
And I've always been like fascinated, a little bit intimidating for me because I don't really go internationally like too often,
Too far, yeah.
But yeah, it definitely calls me. And what other places?
It's funny because Egypt, you have a Moon IC line, which is a home place. Like it's a feeling of emotional connection to a country or land. So I love that. That's so cool. You've been interested in Croatia, right? Like the Mediterranean, Italy.
Right. Yeah. If we're speaking more closer to where I am now, definitely want to explore more the southern regions, Italy, Croatia. And that's really where I've always been drawn to. Like for our honeymoon, we went to Spain, Italy, Greece. Like literally along the Mediterranean because that something about it is so rustic and raw, and I just love the little villages along the coast. It's so beautiful.
And you have your Mars MC line going through those places. You have a Mars MC going through Italy, and then you have the Moon line going through Turkey and then through Egypt. And so the Mars is like adventure and action and hiking and like going out and doing things. And also, if you ever move to Italy or Croatia, that would be a place where you're working a lot. Like you're building something really big in your business or something creative, but it's like motivation energy. It's like feeling a lot of fire to do and take action. So that's the energy that's going through that part. But where you are, it's a lot more about home. Okay. And then when you go over here, it's a lot more about purpose, calling, career, building.
That's so cool. I love that. And maybe I can go there to work.
Yes.
To go filming and like all those things that I would love to do that.
Exactly. I always say you can get inspiration on your MC lines. And then when you go back home to your home line, you can work on the creations and the work that you were inspired by in those places.
Yes. That sounds like so much fun. Like I need to do it now. I need to plan it. Yeah.
And some other places you mentioned, was it like the South in the U.S., like the Carolinas? That's been a place that's called to you.
Oh my gosh, we had this whole conversation yesterday about going to the Carolinas and being in the South, and I actually had to go because the main office, I would say, for my nonprofit was in Georgia. So I always went every year for the conference, the big conference, and I always loved the warmth of the South. Yes. It's such a different warmth and hospitality and all of that. Yeah. And that's, I think, any place I crave the warmth of the people, the culture. And in the South, it felt so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I've always felt drawn to that area too. I was telling you yesterday, like my dream is to have a house with a porch and fireflies in the backyard. And I know, simple life, with my husband and our pets, our dogs.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You just have to plan for it.
Yeah. Yes. And it's wild because over there in the South in the Carolinas and close to Georgia, you have another moon line. So it's like you're following these moon lines. And this is something I find a lot of people do when, they're doing astrocartography or just living their life, is they follow the same planetary line throughout their life because there's a theme that's unfolding for them. So like you have one in Hawaii, you have one in Egypt, and then you have another in the Carolinas and close to Georgia in the US. And you don't have to live right on a line or be on a line. You could be a little bit off of it. There is an orb of influence that impacts you. But I just find that so cool that like you're following moon lines.
I'm doing it unintentionally.
Unintentionally.
I have no idea, but it's so cool.
Yeah. And this is for a lot of you that don't want to use astrology in your life or plan with it. Just trusting yourself, leading with your intuition.
And that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it feels good here. It aligns with who I am. And I like to think that I'm pretty in touch with like how I feel at a certain place. And that's literally the motivation. And the back end of it is astrocartography. You're telling me about it, which is really cool.
Yeah. And so many people feel the calling. They feel the intuitive pull in their heart, but they don't trust themselves or they don't have the courage to actually make their dream happen. And it's really courage. And courage, when we have that courage and we feel that call, it's just go for it. Just do it. Don't second guess yourself, And
I think we talked about it yesterday, but when you move to a different place, you find a different part of yourself that you couldn't before in a different place, in the previous place or your home. So I think it's so important, of course, to travel, to expand your world in that way. But to live somewhere else is a whole nother game. And it changed my life.
Yeah.
I'm not the same person as I was in Hawaii being in Portugal. Like, it will never be the same. Like, yes, you can say some place is home, but you have many homes now. And that really expands your world, your view, and your idea of what home means, your belonging, your identity. It's everything attached to it.
Yeah.
So I just think it's so important, if you have a curiosity, to follow it.
Yeah.
To go for it. See how it works. And as you know my story, you can always go back.
Yeah. You can always go
back if it doesn't align with you. But it's so important to try because what is life?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What's the point if you're not going to be your main character? You are the main character of your life. Go out there,
Yeah.
What are some of the best things about living in Portugal compared to just the U.S. in general? Because you've also lived in Alaska, lived in San Diego, went to school in San Diego, born in South Korea.
Yes.
Right? So like you've been everywhere. What do you love about the quality of life and like the lifestyle of Portugal? Not astrology related.
Yeah. I think I always try not to compare it to different places because it's so different.
Yeah.
It's like its own thing, And I really try to be open-minded, living in another country and living in a completely different culture than my own.
Yeah.
I really just try to be an observer, as much as I am participating, I'm mostly the observer. And I just love the simplicity of Portugal. Like, people, it's everything that we value. It's the simple joys.
Yeah.
It's not worrying about the next thing, tomorrow, the career, not saying that people aren't ambitious here.
Yeah.
It's just they understand what's more important. It's family, As you see behind my house, there's grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
And on Sundays, the whole family will come over and have lunch outside. And I look at that, and that value is so diminishing from the West.
Yeah.
And and from the East too, in Korea, that doesn't happen so much anymore.
Yeah.
The family values. And in Portugal, you'll go to the grocery store and you see the whole family doing grocery shopping. And that was kind of like a culture shock for me, and kind of those unexpected things, you realize and you kind of spot out when you're living in a new place.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything, the food, the weather, the people, the culture. I love the language.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's so beautiful to the ears, but also the way you express things is just very it's to the point.
Yeah.
They kind of shorten the words and just very much very similar to Hawaii too, because we have a lot of Portuguese culture there.
Yeah.
But it's so fun just being a little detective and figuring these, similarities and differences and living in it.
Yeah, there is something really magical about the energy in Portugal. It does feel like clear and spacious, and there's like a clean energy about like I feel very spacious in terms of creativity and ideas. I feel calm here. And I don't know if it's also the colors, like there's a lot of white buildings and like the blue ocean in the background and the rolling green hills. There's something very calming about the color palettes here.
Yes, absolutely.
But also people are so relaxed.
I know. We were just talking about this yesterday, but she was just saying how warm people are here. And I'm like, I think I'm just used to it. But you're so right.
So warm. Like in France, people are so cold.
So
compared to
people just like approach us or like tell us, oh, you can't park here. You know, just they go out of their way to be warm.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just so nice to move to a place where it feels very warm and welcoming to a foreigner.
Yeah.
So
it makes me realize what I'm missing. I'm like, Portugal.
No, you're
Portugal. No.
She tells me all the time about France, like how amazing it is, the people.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's just my neighborhood. I'm living in Versailles, and Versailles, the town, it's a very wealthy, opulent, older crowd, and they're just a little bit more closed, but that's okay. Yeah. I'm, but it's definitely different from Portugal. Like Portugal, people are just like so incredibly warm and kind.
No.
Yeah.
It makes me want to be a better person.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I need to be more friendly. I need to be warm and I need to be more welcoming, you know? It opens you up and it's inspiring. Yeah. So
it's amazing. What advice would you give to someone? Well, let's actually 2 more questions. The first question is, let's go there. What advice would you give to someone who wants to get on YouTube? Someone who wants to be a creator or show up and share their values. Like when you found your Saturn return or when you went through your Saturn return, there was a lot of uncovering that and then sharing. What advice would you give to someone who wants to do something similarly? Anyone out there who's listening who maybe wants to start a YouTube channel or a podcast or an Instagram or whatever?
In the creative world.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 parts to it. But first is the logistics, the transition. And I get this question all the time because people want to create, or I feel like there's this human desire to share their story and create a story. Yeah. And if for creative people, YouTube is like amazing because you get to have all the flexibility in the world to do it. But I think it is really important, whatever you're doing now, to find a transition, so whether it's financially, so saving up so that you can go in this creative route. And what is your long term? Do you want to do this part-time, full-time? So the logistics of it, it's not just like quit your job and just like go for it, as much as like that sounds amazing. I think it's also you have to think about the logistics. You have to pay bills, and it's difficult.
And you don't want to ruin the creativity. I find people who like quit their job and just go for it, they put this pressure on their art and their creative heart, and it burns them out, and then they give up after a year because they feel like they can't do it. And this is a lifelong pursuit of being creative,
Absolutely. So you need some kind of financial stability. And I always say that you need stability for peace of mind. Yeah. Financial stability. That's money is so important, and as a minimalist, it's kind of shocking to say that, but it's not. Yeah. It's very important. And then the second part is you have to really lean into yourself and understand what it is that you want to share with the world and find your voice and just go for it.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds so cliche, right? But honestly, like our first videos, we talked about this, it's not going to be perfect. And I don't even look back at my videos because it's a little bit cringy. You're just starting out. It's the beginnings. And
I've unlisted a lot of my videos.
Oh, me too. I deleted them. No one's looking at them, but I think every creator feels like that. And I think that's a sign of progress. Yeah. That's a sign that you've evolved and that you've perfected your art in a way and you're still perfecting it. So I think it's like, it's a testament to how much you've grown.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing, but you don't get that until you start.
Yeah. God, you're so magical.
Oh,
you're so magical. She's a projector. She's a guide. She's here to share her wisdom.
Be a guide. I pretend
You are. You are.
her.
Yeah.
So
I know your chart. You're here to really help the world, like seriously. And if you haven't followed her on YouTube, your YouTube channel name?
Malama Life. You can follow me if you're into simple living, minimalism, slow living. But I just like going on there and talking about life.
Yeah.
How to live a good life. And you don't have to be into minimalism or anything like that.
And I love the beauty aspect, how to live a beautiful life of simple joys. Like you're very known for that and for sharing that beauty to help people find beauty in their everyday.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
She's so sweet. She's too good to me. But honestly, yeah, I feel so. The best thing about YouTube, I would say, is this.
Yes.
It's connecting people.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't find that just in your immediate environment. It's difficult to find people like that.
Yeah.
But then if you put yourself out there, you connect with anyone all over the world.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely, the videos and everything aside, that's the best thing.
Yeah. And you're having a retreat in Portugal.
Yeah. I know. I'm so excited.
I'll try to get this video out before the retreat happens.
Really?
So people know. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you.
But yeah, she's having a retreat here in Portugal.
Yes.
It's going to be incredible.
I know. And it's another mission for me to like bring people together in person.
Mm-hmm.
And we need more of that. We need to like talk together in person, eye contact, and laugh and share stories. That's so important, you know?
Yes.
So,
and your essentials journal. I have the journal. It's incredible. I use it all the time to help me focus. I'll post some video footage here so you guys can see it and a link down below so you can get it. Love your journal. Seriously, Sophie's doing incredible work, doing incredible things, and your heart is so big. You're such a kind, like seriously, it's like people don't know you, you know, like like I know you, and you're the biggest heart, kindest soul, and I'm just what an honor to know you.
I feel the same about you.
Oh,
I really do.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
I get emotional. Thanks for coming on my podcast.
Was this even a podcast or just like talking? Yeah, I know. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
I'll put all the links down below so you can follow her. Happy Astro Travels. Awesome.